Hi, I'm Alex Duquette, and you're watching a podcast where nostalgia comes alive. It's Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Roll it!
Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, the podcast where nostalgia comes alive. Since July of 2021, Jake and his friends have interviewed professionals in the worlds of acting, directing, writing, puppeteering, and many more. Who will they be chatting with in this week's interview? Find out in this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode.
Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Happy you're here with us. I'm your host, Jake Deffinbaugh. With me today, as always, our co-host, Chris Bixby and Matt Bingel. How you guys doing?
Doing good. How are you,
Good.
Jake?
Hi, everybody.
That's great. It's great here. I'm doing great, as always, every episode.
Yes, and Jake, who do we have for today's interview?
Yes, today's guest we have for today. He's a musician, songwriter, video creator. You might know him from his YouTube channel work, including doing network medleys, such as shows from Nickelodeon, the Junior, PBS Kids, Playoff 16, and a bunch of others. And also a singer as well. And he's also a podcaster, which we will touch base on that later on. And he's done lots of things for his channel, like, for his covers as well. Please welcome Mr. Alex Duquette. Happy to hear Alex. Happy to have you here. How are you?
Hello. Thank you for having me on. I've kind of peeked at your show. You've had a lot of interesting and talented people on here. So it's an honor to join you guys for a little bit.
Yeah, of
Thank you.
course.
Yes, we have. We've had quite a few.
Yes.
It's cool.
Oh,
I was
yes.
very impressed. Yeah, it was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you means a lot. So to kick things off, we know who you are. When we did the most introduction, but for those who don't, would you care to introduce yourself a little bit and what you do?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem. Once again, my name is Alex Duquette. I know a lot of people online probably see that last name and they think, how do you say that? But yeah, it's Duquette. That's my name. I'm a singer-songwriter, just like Jake said. But I'm also I do a lot of other things too. I'm just kind of an overall creator, but music is definitely my passion. And I'm probably most on the internet known for my medleys. I have a YouTube channel that's just my name, Alex Duquette, where I do a TV show theme song medleys, and kind of specifically more nostalgic shows, but I do current shows too. And if you don't know what a medley is, basically what that is, it's where you take a bunch of what I do basically is I take usually 15 or 20 little pieces from 20 separate theme songs and then crunch them all together into one song, which can pose a lot of fun challenges from the creating it perspective, but it's a lot of fun. So if you like nostalgic TV show stuff, go check it out.
Yes, for
Awesome.
sure. Yeah, your channel is awesome.
Yeah.
I know how that last name thing feels. You are not the only one. And I'm sure there are plenty others.
Hold on, I'm seeing your last name here. Is it? Well, it can't just be Bingel. Is it Bingel?
It is Bingel.
It is Bingel. Okay.
Hardly anybody gets it right on the first try. I'm impressed.
I think it's just
Hooray!
listen. It's people with weird last names. We got to stick together. We just have this connection.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, indeed. So what was your background like and how did you grow up?
Well, as you can probably imagine, I grew up in a very musical household. So I grew up in a very, very small town in the middle of the Midwest, middle of nowhere. But going to my school, very small school, it was a very sports kind of forward school. There was music programs and all that stuff, of course, and they were really good, but there was kind of a select few of us. But anyway, that's where I always gravitated towards was the music stuff. Once I got to a certain age, my mom is a very gifted, I believe you say flautist, meaning flute player. I always thought it was flutist, but I guess it's flautist, and a great singer. And then my dad is a songwriter as well. In fact, he actually he mastered my album that I put out this year. And he's also a producer and a guitarist. So music's in the family. I have a couple siblings. They're also musical. So I just kind of grew up with it in the house. But the kind of quick funny story is that I did not want to do music when I was a kid. Like, like how some of these like musicians were like, I was put in front of the drum set when I was 3 years old and I just knew then, whatever, right? I wasn't that kid. So like I wanted to be good at sports so freaking bad. like so bad. But every time I would try out for any sport, I sucked. And that's because I wasn't meant to play sports. So eventually my parents got me, or my mom got me a drum set for my 10th birthday. And that was the first instrument I learned how to play. And it's still probably my favorite to play. It's just taken off from there. So yeah, very musical household.
Nice.
Awesome. So,
Nice.
so I'm kind of curious, who are like some of your like biggest music like influences?
Music influences, that kind of goes all over the place. I always try to listen to, new music and continue to be exposed to it. But of course, we've got our favorites from when we were growing up, right? So I would say first and foremost, my biggest musical influence overall for me as a songwriter is probably the Beatles. My dad was a big fan of theirs, of course, and I was introduced at a young age. And still to this day, I think the short amount of time that they were only really huge for like 7 years, right? The short amount of time and the quality of the music that they wrote in that short amount of time and quantity is, I'd still think, unmatched. So they were a huge influence on me. So a lot of classic rock too in general. Newer stuff. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of like Ben Folds, huge Ben Folds fan. If you listen to my album Songs from Sangamon Street, it kind of sounds a lot like him. Coldplay. I mean, honestly, it's kind of all over the place. It just really depends on where I'm pulling from. Some people I pull just lyrics from, lyrical ideas. Some people I pull musical ideas from. It's always kind of all in you, if that makes sense.
Definitely. I'm kind of curious, do you have like any favorite musical instruments to play?
Yeah, so I would say my all-time favorite, like all-time, would be the drums, and maybe it's because I started on them, right? I just think they're so much fun. So I always love to play them any chance I get. So every time it's like, time to make a medley on YouTube or record a song, I'm always excited to get behind the drums. So I would say the drums are my favorite to play. But I would say that probably the instrument that I'm most like confident on and I can just kind of play whatever I want would be the piano. I can get any idea that I want out of my head through my hands onto the piano. So the piano is a very close second, sometimes first, depending on the day. But all instruments that I play are fun though. But I would say those two are my two favorite.
Nice.
Awesome.
Very nice. Now you're also a audio and video producer. Two in one. How did that come about?
Yeah, it kind of all goes hand in hand, I guess. I'm trying to think how it really did start. I actually usually say technically my first love before music was video. Before I even was playing that drum set at 10 years old, I would grab my mom's old Sony Handycam video camera and make videos with my friends. And that eventually grew into me figuring out a couple years later, I can plug this into a computer and I can edit it. Oh, wow. And then continuing to figure that out. And then leading into today, I do a lot of freelance work, and a lot of my freelance work now is video heavy, so I'll use cameras and gimbals and film different, various things, edit them together. But then I can also add the music to it too. So, and then on the the audio producing side, it's kind of a whole nother thing. And sorry, I'm a fast talker. So if I'm talking too quick, tell me to slow down and I will.
No worries.
But yeah, so my dad, like I said before, he's a very gifted music producer. He's produced quite a few records in his day when he used to do that a lot more back in the 90s. And he taught me a lot of things about that as well. So I kind of got that influence from him. And then since then, that's kind of all become a culmination of a bunch of things. And now that's why I think I do what I do, right? So I make music, but I also make the videos for it and I edit it and all that stuff. I like the hands-on a lot. So sometimes it's my favorite part to do is the hands-on stuff. Keeps you busy and fun.
Definitely.
Awesome. So growing up, do you have like a favorite network or shows to watch?
I figured we were going to be talking about some sort of shows. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
do it now.
once again, right. I mean, once again, my content on YouTube is about that stuff, right? So it just makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I would say out of the big three, and by the big three, I mean Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and Disney. I would say I was a Nick kid first and foremost. Loved Nick. I loved it all though, right? Like we all did. But you know, I remember growing up. I mean, the early days, of course, it was the stuff that we all know about. Rugrats and
Oh yeah.
I loved Angry Beavers, and I love But then later on, of course, you can't deny SpongeBob. Those first few years of SpongeBob were,
Yes.
perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Amazing.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? It's like the thing about SpongeBob though is like I kind of wish it would have ended like maybe you guys disagree. I'm curious your opinions, but I kind of wish SpongeBob would have just ended after the movie. Like I feel like
Yes,
all the way up until the movie was awesome.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because in early SpongeBob, the writers could kind of get away with a lot more, jokes and stuff that, kids wouldn't get. Nowadays, because the demographic for Nickelodeon's changed, you can't really get away with something like that anymore.
No.
I know. It's kind of a shame. It's kind of a shame because yeah, I mean that was this fantastic writing. But anyway, yeah, SpongeBob, of course. So yeah, Nickelodeon, I'd say in general, but that's not to say that I wasn't a big Cartoon Network kid either. But as a kid, Cartoon Network always scared me a little bit more, right? Like, because
Really?
Cartoon Network was like a little, not like it wasn't scary, but I mean, like it was a little edgier,
Mhm.
like the stuff you'd see like on a Courage the Cowardly Dog, or like there's a stuff that was a little edgier than you'd see on Nickelodeon, and I remember like as a kid thinking I'm going to stick with Nick. I think that's okay with me. But it's all good stuff though. Just depends on the show.
Definitely. Yeah, there are a lot of good ones. So now, of course, we talked about in your introduction doing your own covers and the network medleys, of course. How did those come into play for you?
Yeah, so those came into play actually due to just graduating high school and not knowing what to do, right? So that would have been back in I'm aging myself. I'm not quite sure how old you guys are, but I graduated in 2012, and then I was going to college the following year. But in that middle ground of time, I kind of was lost. Like I actually used to make YouTube videos back in like 2008, like in the early days
Oh
when I
my
was
gosh.
Wow.
So now early, right? Now, granted, technically they're online, so if people do the research, they can find them, but they're hard to find. But anyway, but I'd only made like one a year because I would like edit them and put them together. I was about 14 at that point. But anyway, I kind of quit, and then I thought I want to go back into YouTube because right around 2012 was really when like all the gaming YouTubers were taking off. Like that was when you couldn't. That was when you'd go to the YouTube homepage and it was nothing but Minecraft. Just everything was Minecraft,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
those were the days. But that being said, I thought I want to do something too, and I was hugely inspired by a YouTuber called Freddie Gretty. He still makes stuff from time to time. I think he was pretty big at the time, at least by those standards. But Freddie Gretty was basically he did medleys himself. So like he, not quite like as I do, but he would take like popular like songs from like bands. Like he did a Beatles one, for example, or he did a Queen one, and he just did these medleys, and I thought they were really cool. And I was kind of inspired by that. And then one time he did like just like a TV show theme song medley, but it was like more like adult shows. I think if I recall correctly, there could have been cartoons in there too. But anyway, it was really inspiring to me. So I thought I want to do that, right? Like I want to do that. So I decided to put that on the back burner and first just started making covers. The reason why I put that on the back burner is because I didn't know how to make a medley. I didn't know the best way to take a bunch of seemingly different sounding songs and then put them together into one song. Like, I don't know if anyone here has a musical background, but if you do, then I'm sure you'll understand that there's a lot that goes into that, right? These aren't songs that are meant to go together, but you're trying to force them together and make it sound like it's one song. So
yeah,
anyway,
because you got to make
Yeah.
like a smooth transition to like the next song.
Exactly. To put it in perspective, my medleys are usually between 2 or 3 minutes, and each medley that I make takes around 45 to 50 hours. So,
Oh wow.
Oh my
45
god.
to 50 hours for a 3-minute video. Yeah. So anyway, that being said, I started with covers just because it was a little bit easier, and I was kind of figuring out my footing, and I'd started off with just playing guitar, and I'd sing, and I would just upload it. And then eventually I got a little more fancy with my editing as I continued to learn that. But then I went back to that inspiration from Freddie Greddy, and I thought, I don't want to do TV show theme songs because he already did that. I want to do something different. So I started with commercial jingles. I just did a commercial jingle medley, excuse me. And at the time on my channel, I would get, every video I would get like 30 views, 20 views, 10, whatever, not very much. I was just kind of used to it. But I made that commercial jingles medley. And then I remember it wasn't too long and I broke 1,000 views. And then I broke 10,000. And then it kept growing and growing. And it was a slow process. It wasn't like a overnight thing, right? It wasn't like viral, but it did grow a lot quicker. And I thought, okay, clearly I'm resonating with a certain audience, and YouTube is clearly kind of pushing this to the right people. So I thought, all right, I'll keep going that route. And then eventually I started doing the TV show theme song medleys, which is really where my audience began to show up and enjoy what I do. So
Nice.
I know that was kind of a weird path to get there, but that's kind of how I got to making medleys like I do today.
Really nice.
Awesome.
Interesting. So I'm curious, are there any covers or medleys you've done that stick out to you as some of your favorites?
Yeah. So I would say Cartoon Network Part 2, I really enjoyed. Now, it's funny because Cartoon Network, because I think I've done 3 parts now. I lost track of what I've done, but Cartoon Network Part 1 had all the shows that I knew, that I grew up on, like your Dexter's Lab and I'm drawing a blank, but I know all the other 19 shows on there. But anyway, the Part 2 was just such a fun challenge for me, and seeing it come together was such a treat for me that it ended up being one of my favorites. Other favorites of mine definitely are my PBS Kids medleys. Kind of for varying reasons. I liked a lot of those shows growing up, especially the earlier ones. Like, I was a big Mr. Rogers fan. And
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I mean, he's,
amazing.
He's great. I actually recently just saw for the first time, what's it called? With Tom Hanks.
A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Yeah, I was
Yes.
thinking, was it
Yes.
Will You Be My Neighbor? I forgot what it was called. Great movie.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing movie.
Really good movie. But yeah, so that's kind of my favorite as well. I'm trying to think. I mean, it's kind of like, just like with songwriting, like with all of my songs that I've written, it's kind of like picking your favorite children. You just can't do it,
Right.
They're all fun or my favorites for different reasons, I guess.
Yeah, the PBS Kids one was really fun because we grew up with a lot of that stuff too.
Oh yes.
PBS
Same goes with like Playhouse Disney, Nick Jr., PBS Kids, Sprout.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Sprout one was fun. I like doing that one because I remember after I did 3 PBS Kids medleys, and I thought, where am I going to go from here? Because I've done so many shows, and clearly those ones seem to resonate with the most people. Well, I say clearly, but those are some of my highest viewed medleys. And so clearly a lot of people grew up on PBS, and it makes sense because you didn't have to have cable to have PBS. So it was already a bigger audience, right? So that makes sense. But anyway, Sprout, I didn't know many of those shows because that's kind of after my time, but it was so much fun to do. And some of those songs were awesome too. So that's the thing. It's like, I don't even know some of the songs that I do now for my medleys because some of them are newer, but they're still great theme songs. Like there's so many shows still today. Like a lot of people like to reminisce and say, oh, in the 90s and the early 2000s, like those theme songs, everything was just better. But it's like, there's still some great theme songs now. So so it's still very, very fun.
Nice.
Oh yes. And we're gonna add this part out since we're talking about Sprout. And in the future, we're speaking with Stacia Newcomb, who performed Star, and Michelle Lepe, who did Nina for the Goodnight Show.
Oh man, that's cool.
So yeah, they're awesome. So
That's super cool.
Yeah, we've had a lot of interesting people who worked on shows from our childhood. So many.
Oh yes,
so many.
so many.
Sesame Street in particular.
Oh
yeah, we've interviewed a lot of people from Sesame Street.
Oh yeah,
that is super cool. Like I was because when Jake, when you reached out to me, full disclosure, I mean I wasn't familiar with your show, but
right.
But then I took a look at it. And then I thought, look at these, these are some pretty interesting people that you're having on here. All these voice actors and writers and stuff. Like I was pretty impressed. Like I want to go through and listen to some of these. I haven't had the time to do that yet, but I want to hear their insight and stuff. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, boys, recommendations. What do you think? What do we recommend? What do we recommend?
If you had only one, if you could only pick one, like what is the best interview?
I knew this would be coming up. Wow, there's so many good.
Someone turn the tables.
Well,
there's so many good ones.
Since you mentioned being a Nick kid, one of our most recent interviews was with the Carlos Alazraki, who's the voice of Rocco and Rocco's Modern Life.
That's a really good one. That's a really good one. I mean, that's a little further back, but that one was just recent. Wow, there are a lot. So many great ones. I can't choose just one. It's
like we're doing so many episodes. They just don't. They just don't.
This is
just like you, Alex. We do so many medleys, so you don't.
Right? It kind of blends together.
Right. I recommend this episode. Will be out by the time it goes up. We'll let this part out, but we have one airing later this week with Leslie Carrera Rudolph, who does Abby Cadabby on Sesame Street. That one's really fun.
Okay.
She is the sweetest.
Yeah. Oh, she's great, extremely talented. There's so many. Wow.
And since you're musician songwriter, one of my favorite episodes that we've done is we actually interviewed Murray Cook, who is the original Red Widow.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay,
Another musician, Dennis Scott, who who did some Mr. Rogers stuff. He composed his own Mr. Rogers album.
And
what was the album called? Thank You, Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
Really good album.
Yes. And we also interviewed Scott Durbin, who was one of the members of the
Scott
universe.
Durbin. He was fun. He was fun too.
That's cool.
If there's one in the music aspect, I recommend Jason Page. That's a really good one.
The singer of the Pokemon theme song.
Oh my gosh, that's really cool.
I know. Yeah.
What he did in that episode is just amazing. Absolutely amazing.
There's a lot of good ones.
On that one.
There are a lot of really good ones.
Yeah.
It's hard to choose.
A lot of wholesome ones too. A lot of them share a lot of kind of bittersweet stories, and so
Well, then I'll definitely check these out then. You've definitely earned yourself a sub, so I'll go on there and I'll listen to some of these for sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Which one weren't you gonna recommend like one more, Jakey?
It was Paul Rudolph.
Oh, Paul Rudolph. Oh, you're gonna love his. Oh, he's
my
great.
gosh. He did like a little demonstration.
He did a little vibraphone. Demonstration.
He's the vocal music director on Sesame Street. So like whenever they record songs on that show, he like directs the vocals and the ranges and everything.
Wow. Yeah. Man, that's cool.
Yeah.
Just quick question. I don't know if this is going to be on the show or not, but do you you just do cold emails? Like, how do you get a hold of these people?
It's a mix.
Pretty much. I mean, mostly emails.
Most of the time, it's emails.
Sometimes if they're
social media.
Yeah, sometimes if they're easily reachable, it kind of depends. Sometimes we'll reach out through social media, but usually through email or agents, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's mostly emails and agents mostly.
Yeah,
that's cool.
For a good majority.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. It means a lot. So I'm kind of curious, how long did it usually take to learn the songs for your network medleys?
Learning the songs for the medleys, that, like I said before, obviously the whole process takes a while, but honestly, it probably about half, if not 2/3, is that part, right? Learning these songs. Because here's the thing. So like on a lot of these medleys that I do, some are heavily documented and have tons of things you can watch. Like you can look up their theme songs on YouTube and you can hear them in crisp, high quality audio. But I try to be true to the networks and include shows that maybe not many people watched back in the day, right? And those shows are much less documented online. And sometimes it can be really difficult to figure out the song because there might be one upload of this theme song from like 2009 and it's in 240p and you can barely hear the audio. And there's not like, and by the way, I play by ear, so I don't read sheet music. So I listen to the music, then I figure out each instrument just from listening to it. So that obviously takes a while. But yeah, so with songs like that, it can take quite a while. I would say out of my 40, let's just say it's 40 hours to do one medley. So out of the 40 hours, I would say probably about half, 20 to 25 hours is just me picking out or like gathering the songs, learning them, kind of laying them down and kind of putting them together and then arranging them together as well, right? Because you have to arrange the songs as well to make them, like I said earlier, fit in such a way to where it sounds kind of fluid together. So a good 20 to 25 hours, I'd say. But the thing I like about doing it is about doing that particular stuff is that I feel like these medleys right now, they're just fun for people to take nostalgia trips on and stuff, which is great. But I think it's kind of cool because the thing about YouTube, assuming it's still going to be here, like in 10 years or 15 or 20 or even longer, my medleys can kind of be like new ways of documenting old shows that otherwise might be forgotten. Because there's some shows on there that are, once again, you can hardly find anything on. So I kind of see them as ways of kind of, what's it called? Like, I can think of just not documenting, but like preserving these theme songs in kind of my own special way. So it's definitely worth the challenge and a lot of fun to do just for that reason alone, even.
Nice.
Absolutely. So you're also best known for having your own YouTube live stream series, Jam and Chat.
The Jam and Chat, yeah.
How did that come about, and what's that like?
Yeah, so the Jam and Chat. So once again, YouTube mainly just known for the medleys, but I was things were starting to feel like not stale, but I wanted to do something new, but I didn't know how to do it. And you already know how long it takes to make medleys. So I'm thinking, what can I do that doesn't require a ton of time? Well, as I was thinking about these things, the pandemic hit. And then I all of a sudden had a lot of time, right?
Right, yeah.
To do things. And I thought, what can I do? Like, I want to do some sort of live stream. One of my closest friends in real life and a fellow YouTuber, shout out to Magic Man Mo. He does gaming live streams, right? And he has been doing the live streams for quite a few years now. And I thought, I want to kind of get in the live stream game, but like in my own way. So it started off, I created just a one-off live stream called Jam and Chat, with the idea being I'm going to jam, maybe play some songs, then we can chat. Simple, right? Makes sense. Well, so I was playing some of my favorite songs and there was a few people that hopped on, not a lot, because people usually expected medleys. They didn't expect this medley guy to all of a sudden come out here and just be singing like, Queen songs on the piano or whatever. And so not everyone hopped on, but very quickly I realized after that first live stream, YouTube was copyright claiming like every song, because of course they are. It just didn't click in my head, right? So I went back to listen to the live stream and it was like almost all silence because it was muting all of my music, right? And so like that sucks. So I thought, what am I going to do? So I thought, you know what? I used to do this actually with friends, like just with like my roommates in college, where we would just improv music. Like I would sit in front of a piano and then I'd say, okay, give me a topic. And he'd go, okay, do a song about, make a song called, Fat Man Walking. And so I'll make a song random on the spot called Fat Man Walking. And it's about a big guy walking, right? Whatever. I was just out of my head, but you know what I'm saying? They would just give me some funny song title.
Right.
And so anyway, I took that idea and I thought, why don't I make that a live stream? So once again, I had the time. So I thought when I come back, I'm not going to do covers anymore because I clearly can't. I'm just going to tell the people in the chat give me a song title and I'll make it into a song. So it made it very interactive. And hence the Jam and Chat was really born. And that was a ton of fun. I mean, it still is a ton of fun. It actually still happens. I'm on a break right now, a seasonal break. It comes back in the fall. But that ended up being, especially that first season, a pretty, I mean, by big, when I say big, I just mean by my standards on my channel, but like a pretty big, I would say, like, success. And there was quite a few viewers who would tune in for that first season. And I think it was really just a culmination of everybody was home, not sure what's going on. This was in the summer of 2020. So it was quite a few months into everything. People were kind of antsy and people wanted to be entertained, right? And it was the perfect thing. And it was on Friday nights. So like every Friday night, they could tune in and just watch, they can watch this guy sing these silly songs about, it's really about it. If you've never seen them, I highly recommend at least checking out one of them. It doesn't matter which one. The topic matter goes all over the place. It's very funny. But it ends up being a really fun time with everybody. And then I eventually incorporated some games. And my goal with live streams is to make them very interactive. I hate watching somebody on Twitch or on YouTube. And I'm like, I say, I'm talking even small streamers. And I'm like, hey, how was your night or whatever. And then there's no response. They're just staring at whatever they're doing. It's like, I kind of want to be interactive.
That's the worst.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot of streamers that do it, right? So big and small. And it's really sad too, because, you'll see these streamers. I've seen quite a few where like you've seen them grow and it starts off really like you're really connected and you have this small community and it's good. And then they grow and then all of a sudden they can't anymore because there's too many people. That's kind of a sad thing too. But one of my main goals though was to be interactive. So not only are you giving me my song titles that I can make up on the fly with my beats and all that stuff, but also we're playing games and just talking and chatting and very positive. I try to maintain, especially with that show in particular, I try to maintain a very positive, PG, family friendly for the most part experience so anybody can enjoy it. I won't forget about, I don't know, maybe about a year into the Jam and Chat, I got this direct message from somebody, and it was from a mother of a child who I think it was his senior year. And she was talking about, and she was thanking me for doing the Jam and Chat. Her son is autistic. And she said that he was really struggling with figuring out what was going on just kind of in his own personal life during the pandemic. He was claustrophobic, didn't know what to do. And the Jam and Chats were an outlet for him. And she thanked me and said, the whole family sits down and watches your show every week, every night now. And that was a very, it's things like that really, that makes you swell up. And I was very proud I'm proud to have a show like that people can feel safe, secure, and, and really have it resonate with them. So that was really cool. I had to plug that because I am proud of that. I'm pleased about that.
It's fantastic. I'm kind of the same way. I stream occasionally, actually weekly. I just started. I used to do it on Instagram for years, but switched to YouTube because it was just time for a switch. I'm a puppeteer. Yeah. Hey, you come here. What? Oh, there you are, Julius. Hi. Hello. Julius. I'm not usually here for these non-puppet streams, but he's talking about us, so why not? Why not? Yeah, I've been doing that for just over 3 years. We actually just kicked off our 4th year, and
okay,
it's kind of like your show. I guess nothing scripted. It's a bunch of our good friends across the country, sometimes even globally. Yeah, we've had some friends as far as Australia join us a couple times.
Holy
cow!
Yeah,
I know it's insane, but it really hits with people because it's a lot of fun. We do them. We just came off of our seasonal break. Yeah, usually like May is usually kind of our break because we do our anniversary show, come back for our new season, and then that just happens. But it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of our wonderful friends on. As you said, we have a small community, but it's really something special. Yeah. And I think a lot of people resonate with our show as well. our live stream that we do, because it's a place to just get away from all the craziness in the world once a week, mostly
Absolutely.
every week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, Julius. No problem.
What's the show called? I'll check it out.
Our show is called Bingel Live. It's a generic name, but we used to
Okay.
do it on Instagram, but it's on our shameless plug friends. The Bingel Puppet Troupe is our YouTube name. We actually just did a show last night. Actually, last the time of recording. But yeah, we just started on YouTube. Most of our shows are on Instagram, and we have an archive.org page. Yeah, we upload there too. Shut up. I know it's an archive. It's an archival thing. Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, the Bengal Puppet Troupe is our YouTube page where we do them. We do them every Monday night.
Okay.
But at least for the summer, and then we're gonna move to Wednesdays in the fall. Yep.
Gotcha. Well, I'll check you guys
Yeah.
out. That sounds pretty cool. That's awesome.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Nice.
Can I go? Yes, you can go now.
See you, Julius.
Hi.
He's like, I'm tired of seeing this creepy redheaded guy in a studio. Let me out of here.
I don't get tired of you humans.
So on the subject of music, you also recorded your own original albums, such as songs from Sangamon Street and Common Ground. What was it like recording those?
It was quite fun recording those. That's kind of one of the main goals I had of originally starting my channel, was eventually showing my audience, like, hey, I make my own music, right? Kind of as a medium to get people to see other things that I do. And songwriting actually for me didn't come until a little bit later. So like I was making music for a long time, but I didn't start really writing songs till I was in my early 20s. So I was already quite a few medleys deep, and 100 videos plus at that point on YouTube before I really started writing songs. And then I thought, it's time. I really want to do that. I have my own things to say, and I kind of found my way as a songwriter. My songwriting style, I usually like to tell stories. So it's a little different than some music you might hear lyrically. But the things that I do write about story-wise are things that we all can relate to, because they're all part of the human condition. So what I like to do is take really specific moments of just mundane everyday life and then make them into songs, because it's something we can all relate to. For example, I have a song. This is just an example to show what I mean by really small moments. I have a song on my album, Songs from Sangamon Street. It is called Go Sit in the Car. That song is basically about a couple who gets in a fight in like a Walmart, and he gets so mad that he's like, you know what, if you're gonna act like this, I'm gonna leave you here. I'm driving home. Just a really bad, toxic couple fighting in a parking lot, right? Like a very specific moment. By the way, that's true. I do recommend listening to that song. Go Sit in the Car. That ended up being one of my most popular songs on that album, which is funny. Anyway, but yeah, I like to write about those moments, but then I also have a song I wrote called Dong Kim, which is the name of a person that I used to work with, or not work with, but I worked adjacent to out of a mall in college. And he was basically a man. He was a man. He was a Korean man, and he would come in. I used to work at a cell phone store, and he would walk in, and he got to know me, right? He spoke a little English, and he learned my name, and I learned his, and he always needed me. He'd always accidentally change his phone to English, so he'd need me to change it back to Korean for him. So we kind of had this ongoing joke, and that was back home. So I've moved from my home state, and I wrote a song called Dong Kim, basically it's not about him, but it's about the really small, specific moments that I miss about my hometown. And it kind of came out through just about this random guy that I used to work next to at the mall, So I really like to take these really specific moments, but make them, and just humanize them, make them heartfelt, and put them into songs. So to answer your initial question, I think you asked, Chris, what was it like? It's been super fun recording these albums. They are completely self-produced. With a few exceptions, I've done all the instrumentation. I will give a couple of quick shout outs to the Flamingo King. He's a guitar player based out of Memphis, Tennessee. He did some guitar work for me, and then my dad did some guitar work for me on just various songs. So, but other than that, all the instrumentation, singing, production is me. And I love having that, that creative control to kind of make it how I want. That's the beauty of living in 2023 is that, you can have your own home studio and you can make your own independent album and bring it out into the world. So it's been really fun. And my first album, because Common Ground was an EP, that was my first release. And then Songs from Sangamon Street was my first, it's my debut album. And I was able to actually press CDs, and you can actually buy CDs of that too, just as like a novelty thing. So that the whole experience, just to say that I did that, for me is really fulfilling. And I'm very proud of it. And I encourage you guys, if you haven't, and anyone listening, to give that album a listen, because you just might like what you hear.
Of course, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So do you have any favorite songs from your albums?
Well, yeah, I think so. Once again, it's hard to pick, right? Because, 'cause it's like your babies, like we talked about earlier. But I would say there's a couple that stand out to me. If I were to guide you in a particular direction. So I'm gonna name a few, but so on my EP Common Ground that came out a couple years ago, I would say probably the song that resonates with the most people. It's a song called "Fine by Monday." It's a pretty simple song, but it's a song that I just know resonates with a lot of folks. Another one would be called "Wasting." It's a very kind of slow, kind of haunting, kind of bluesy song about realizing you're not with the person you're supposed to be with, and you just wasted years of your romantic life with them. So that's a very prominent one to me. And then on my album, my newest album, I would say probably my favorite would be a song called "Breadcrumbs and Vaseline." I know that's a weird title, but basically, "Breadcrumbs and Vaseline" is about a guy who has a dream to be a movie star, and basically the song is his daydream. So it starts off with him, he's dirt poor, barely getting by. The first line is "pep talk, reflection on a stovetop." The idea being he can't even afford a mirror. So he's giving himself a pep talk, looking in a stovetop reflection, saying it's only up from here. And then he goes in this daydream sequence where he's living out his dream of being a rock star. And then at the very end of the song, he wakes up and then he's still, back to just breadcrumbs and Vaseline. So I highly recommend that one too. That one's probably my favorite, not just because of what it's about, but because it's a multi-part song. So it's not just like a verse, chorus, verse, chorus. There's 4 separate parts in the song. So it goes to one part, then the next part, then the next part.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Kind of like Bohemian
Right.
Rhapsody, kind of like that. Right?
Yeah,
So it was ambitious, of myself at the time to do that. It was a challenge to myself, but I wanted to give it a try, and so I did, and I made it. So I would say on that album, my favorite is "Breadcrumbs and Vaseline," and then the final one I'll say is sorry, once again, you know me, I'm just gonna ramble. So you need to tell me to shut up, I will.
No, that's okay.
I have a song called "Gravity Man," and so as I said before, most of my songs tell stories. A lot of them are kind of fictional, or they're based on true events, but things are dramatized, right? Like the car one, or the fighting in the parking lot one. Go sit in the car. But "Gravity Man" is directly from my soul, and it was about, once again, me moving from my home state to the new state that I live in, and so that one resonated with a ton of people too, and it felt very vulnerable to put that out there because it's just me, just a piano. That one has no other instruments besides me and a piano, and it's that song. I think it's something a lot of us can relate to, and it's about fear of change and fear of opportunity. So a lot of us get opportunities to do really cool things that we might really want to do, but we get scared still. Like it might seem obvious from the outsider's perspective to go, well, you're, like you have this opportunity to go, record this song with this other famous musician. But I get scared and it's like, do I really want to do it? And like you start to have these fears of change and things that happen. And that's one of my deepest, probably emotional struggles is that, if I can be transparent, it's just kind of fear of change and opportunity. And so I wanted to write about that. And so I'm very proud of that as well. So that's probably another one of my favorites. So
Nice.
yeah, there you go.
Awesome.
No worries.
No worries.
No,
No worries.
you're
We can
no worries.
accept long answers.
Yes.
Yeah, we do all the time. We do all the time.
Yes.
Now you're also
only
a
imagine.
part of
Yeah.
yes, we do. You're also a part of several podcasts. Hey, he's one of us. Out, Julius. Oh.
Now's not your time. All
No,
right.
you
It's
had
my
your, you
time,
had
buddy.
you had your chance.
fine.
Oh yeah, I did. You're also a part of several podcasts, including the Two Peas podcast and Profoundish.
Yes.
As a podcaster yourself, what are doing those like?
Yeah, two podcasts, right? Two Piece Podcast and Profoundish. I guess I'll give my quick plugs of them. I'll start with Profoundish. Profoundish is one that I do with my I mentioned him earlier. He's most notably known as being Magic Man Mo online, but my friend Weston, we have a show. It's called Profoundish, and basically what we do is it's just two hosts, and we both have a topic that we bring to each other, and the other person doesn't know what it is, right? So it's always a surprise. So one week it's about outer space, then the next week it's about cooking. Like you just don't know. And then so we always put each other on the spot, And so that's a super fun thing to do because you always want to kind of confuse them because you always, you never know what they're going to talk about. Then the second half of the show is we always play fun games. So like one of my favorite games that we like to play in Profoundish is we did one episode and it was about it was about like some sort of like fiction about movies, I believe is what it was. And I could be wrong on that because we've done a lot of episodes. But anyways, I think it's about movies. And the second half of the show, the game section was basically a game where I set it up for my co-host Weston, where I gave him a bunch of popular witches and wizards who some had conflicts of interest with each other, right? Like your Harry Potter and your Voldemort, or whatever, right? And they had to work in a pizzeria together. So he had to, So he had to assign these witches and wizards, but make sure that like they're not having any internal conflicts and stuff. So it's really fun, and it's a little improv-y in some ways. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I would check that out. The other one is the Two Piece Podcast. Now I do that with her name is Steph. She's my better half. We've been doing that show for quite a while, and that show is really fun too. So the Two Piece Podcast is kind of, I call it, like the old games, like edutainment. So basically it is, we always have top fives that we do every episode. And once again, we don't know each other's top fives and we alternate going down our lists, but the topic matter is all over the place. So it's like, sometimes it's our top 5 favorite albums of all time. But then we also did an episode called our top 5 favorite sitting positions. So like we do like so we literally did an hour's worth of content talking about our favorite positions to sit in. And it's actually, the funny part is that it's probably I think it's our second or third most listened to episode. It's hilarious. But anyway, alongside those topics we do, we also always tell like a historical story. That kind of pertains to the topic. So you kind of learn a little bit too as you laugh along with us. So those are both podcasts that I do. They're a lot of fun. What's it like doing them? I love it, right? Podcasts are a great way to still make stuff. It's a little bit easier to make because you can just sit down, record for an hour as we are doing. And, there's some minimal editing you have to do, right? But then it's out into the world. As opposed to my musical stuff, which takes hours. Medleys take me 40 hours or whatever. My album took me probably 100, 150 hours total. So like those things take a long time. But you know, those are kind of quicker, and it's nice to do something different. I'm sure you guys can relate, like, you know, other projects that you do. It's nice to step away from your main projects and just do something else, you know, work another part of your creative brain. I'm sure you guys understand that.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Because you don't ever want to be like, you know, you don't want to be like fatigued with doing just the same thing over and over again. I think it's good to kind of expand your wings and see. And that's kind of the beauty too, I think, of creating content in general, is that everything can go out into the universe. And then if you want to change gears, you can. No one's making you do it, right? If you want to change gears, you can try something else. See what sticks with you, what works with you.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. So aside from making music, you're also known for being a video game fan. What are some of your favorite video games?
Video games. See, that's the thing. That's something I still want to do more of with my creation, is like video game related stuff. And I am working on a way to fuse my love of music and my love of video games together, but I can't say anything else, but there's a little hint right there. At least for now. Sneak peek right here on the Happy Nostalgia Show. But I would say my favorite video games of all time. So number one, first and foremost, is Legend of Zelda. So as you can imagine,
yes,
I am sinking
Oh,
all of my
yeah.
time right now
Yeah,
into Tears of the Kingdom. So, and it's super freaking fun. And so that's a big one. So I love Zelda. I'm a big Nintendo guy to begin with.
Oh
But
yeah.
I am equal opportunity. So I love PlayStation and I love Xbox. On the PlayStation, or really just on the non-Nintendo side, I'm a big fan of Fallout. Big fan of the Fallout games.
Ooh, yes.
Of course, the Elder Scrolls games, Skyrim and Oblivion specifically. And now Bethesda has that new game coming out, Starfield, which I'm also excited for. But then, like, other than that, you know, I'm the only genre I don't really play are shooters. I'm just because I'm not good at them. Like,
Nah, me
I
neither.
mean, like competitive shooters. You know what I mean? Like,
Me neither. I know. No,
Oh my
I'm not good
gosh.
at them either.
now, another one that I
nope.
have to mention, though, is, I'm sure somebody here is, because I think just there's got to be a stat. Like 1 out of every 5 people at least needs to be a Minecraft fan. Love Minecraft. Any Minecraft lovers in here? Okay.
I used to play a lot. I used to play a lot when I was
used to play a little bit of Minecraft, but
I used to play it quite a bit.
See, that's the thing, used to, right? Like that's what I always have been like. So like I got into it like during like I think it just released. I think it was either at the very end of beta or just released, and I played it. And I was in high school still. And then but you know how it goes, like with Minecraft, like you'll dip out for like a year or two, and then you go, I kind of miss playing. And then you go back and then you'll play for like a month straight, and then you kind of go away again. But Minecraft is very special.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely love to get back into Minecraft.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So fun.
Yeah, so can you share anything you're currently working on?
Yeah. Right now, a lot of what I do is actually kind of behind the scenes stuff. So, one thing like behind the scenes freelance work. In fact, kind of my goal. I've been saying this. I'm speaking it out into the ether. My goal is within the next 5 years to fully become my own boss, just doing audio, video, creative freelance work. You know, because right now I do have a day job. And some things that I've been doing lately. I actually recently wrote, arranged, and composed a soundtrack for a video game.
Nice.
So that was a really cool thing. Keep your eyes out for it. It's not out yet. It's a ninja assassin game. It's like a very small indie game. It's called Ninja Akayo. That's what it's called. So I'm pretty excited about that. So that's something I'm working on. And then other than that, it's just kind of various projects. I will say that I do all of the sound design and a lot of production work for a independent storytelling production house called Camp Nostalgic. They do kind of all kinds of various content. There's animations, there's documentaries. There's a show on there called Camp Nostalgic Saturday Morning. It's the flagship show, and I'm a part of that. Basically, the idea of that show is we talk about various things in pop culture, one topic every episode. Usually like in the past, we've done one episode just about television neighbors. We talked about who's the friendliest television neighbor, and we talked about like Wilson from Home Improvement, and we talked about all kinds of different like neighbors. But then we present our show as if it's an old like television block. So we have our own commercials. We have our own band that plays at the end. So we make it feel like
Wow.
you're watching a
Oh,
block
wow.
of television. So
Wow.
if you're interested in like kind of reliving that, I highly recommend checking out Camp Nostalgic. I do all the music and all of the sound design for that. So those are kind of some other things, I guess, that I'm working on. The only other thing I can say is that once again, I can just hint at it, but it's really my I do have a new YouTube project I want to get started, where it's a way for me to fuse video games and music together into one. So I'm really excited to put that out there too, because that's like my two loves coming together. But other than that, those are kind of the things that I'm working on. It's always something new in the studio, which is a ton of fun. There's never not any day is the same. Projects always change. And that's the beauty of doing audio and video. One day I'm recording a song for somebody. The next day I'm recording my own song. Then the third day I'm editing a video or filming something. The day after that, I'm doing sound design for a video game or whatever. So it's all over the place. So it's never a dull moment. And I'm super grateful to be able to have the time to do this stuff.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Fantastic. So what would you like to say to those who have supported the projects you've worked on over the years?
Wait, what would I like to say to those? I lost you. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
What would you like to say to those who have supported the projects you've worked on over the years?
Oh, to those who've supported my work. First of all, thank you immensely. I always take a chance, any chance I get, especially online with like my medleys, because my medleys are the thing that I'm most known for. I'm always very thankful for those of you who watch and listen to what I do, and for those of you who've given me so much support on my album. I was expecting to when I made my CDs, I was expecting to lose money on those, right? And I surprisingly, just because I'm a small musician, and surprisingly, I made my money back and then some on CDs for the support from people who've listened to it across the country, and then of course local to me too. And I'm very grateful for the support. There's days where you really feel like you don't deserve all that support, but at the end of the day, I am extremely grateful, and I'm forever in your debt. And then on the online side, it's the same thing. Every time I put out a new video, I always thank people first. I'm not telling you to subscribe. I'm just thanking you just for being there, because that goes a long way. And I'm just thankful to have a small little, just like you guys, to have a small little corner of the internet, just for you and your community. And it's fun to watch it slowly grow, and to house such positive energy is really important to me too. There's a lot of positivity, because you know how easily negativity can happen online. So it's just really nice to have that too. And I'm thankful. Really quick, I do want to thank specifically my channel members and Patreon supporters, the crew. You guys know who you are. You guys are awesome. And I love each and every one of you. You rock. They're my internet friends. I love them.
Hey.
Awesome. So if people would like to connect with you, where can people find you?
I would say the two places to go, if you're really just interested in the medley specifically, I'm assuming a lot of your audience probably would be interested in that specifically. I would say go to my YouTube channel. You can just type in Alex Duquette, and you can watch all the nostalgic medleys you want. That would mean a whole lot if you went there and hung out for a little while, watched a few of those. For everything that I do all in one, my best hub landing page is going to be alexduquette.net. So I picked a .net because it rhymes and it's easy to remember. alexduquette.net. So
there you go.
Exactly right. So I started with alexduquettemusic.com, and I thought that's too long, and I do more than music. So I changed it, alexduquette.net.
There you go. Links will be down in the description below for people to check you out.
Yes.
Now this last question that Chris is going to ask, we usually ask this to every guest.
Yes.
Go ahead, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah, so of course this podcast is called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. When you think of nostalgia, what do you think of, or how would you define the word nostalgia?
Well, one thing I always say about nostalgia is never underestimate the power of it. Nostalgia is strong. And I think our generation specifically, it just really resonates a lot with us. I think nostalgia is all feelings, good, bad, ugly, fun, sad. It doesn't matter. It's all of our feelings put into one, kind of bottled up in this little emotional bubble. And we like to sometimes peek into that a little bit. And my definition probably sounds kind of weird, but I don't know. That's just kind of what it is to me. It's all your emotions coming together. And I don't know. I think it's fun to celebrate, just the old days, whatever our nostalgia is. And I think it's fun to relive moments and look back. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And that's what my stuff's about. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of my personal definition of that's what nostalgia means to me.
Nice,
Awesome,
great words, send
awesome, great words. Send off.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
By the way, thank you for having me on here. When I saw your guests that you've had on before me, I'm thinking, why the heck do they want me on here? So like, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, so thank you. I really do appreciate you guys, giving me a little time on here.
Of
It's
course.
fun
Of
chatting.
course.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes,
Of
thank you,
course.
and thank you so much for doing your YouTube channel and everything. And you keep up your great work, and cannot wait. What's next in store for you? Hope you see
Appreciate
what
it.
next more medleys up in the future.
Yeah,
Jam chat
medleys
in the
are
fall.
Jim chat, yeah.
the medleys took a little bit of a back burner for a little bit these last few months just because I've been working on other stuff. But there's a new medley.
Mhm.
New medleys are coming in July. So stick around
Awesome.
for that.
I think when this is posted, episode will be posted. I think it's already gonna be
Yeah.
be out.
Just go check them out anyway. What do we care?
Yeah.
Just go
Oh,
check
you-
them out
wait.
anyway.
Wait, so you said this will be posted in? Are you saying it's going to be in July?
Around
Is that
there,
what you
yeah,
said?
probably.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Probably around some
Oh,
time.
okay. Well, if that's the case, then I can tell you what the medley is going to be, or the medley is. Go
Ooh.
enjoy my Phineas and Ferb medley.
Ooh.
Nice.
Oh.
So
I actually previously interviewed Vincent Martella, who's the voice of Phineas.
Yeah.
I think I might have seen that when I was scrolling through. I'm a big fan of that show. So
So are
I'm
we.
Nice.
pretty
So are
excited.
Yes.
Nice.
we.
Yes.
Well, stick around
Yeah.
for that. Then don't tell anybody until this is out, though. You got to keep that a secret.
Absolutely, yeah.
We'll keep
of course.
our lips are sealed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, once again, guys, thank you so much. And of course, best of luck to you and what
Yes.
you're doing. You've earned yourself a subscription. I'll be definitely tuning into your future shows.
Awesome. Thank you.
Wonderful,
And-
wonderful.
And I'll send a picture to you, and I'll let you know when this goes up.
Yes, shoot me that picture because I'd love to do some cross promotion once it's time.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Nice. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Awesome.
For sure. Of course.
Yes. Enjoy the rest of your day, Alex. Keep in
Yes.
touch.
Yes. Thank
Yeah,
you very much
absolutely,
again.
guys.
Yes.
All
All
right.
right.
You have a
Take
good
care.
one.
Great rest of your day.
We'll see you guys.
You too, Alex.
Bye.
Okay, Alex. Bye.
Bye. It's goodbye
And
from us
it's
as
bye from
well.
us Yep. Mhm.
It is good.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely enjoyed our time with Alex Duquette.
Yes. he's
And-
Yes,
amazing.
yes, we did.
Yes.
Check out his medleys. They are amazing.
Yes, and on the
you guys
subject
should.
of checking
Fantastic.
things out, keep on the lookout for more wonderful interviews. And as always, what do we say,
Yes.
Jake?
Keep nostalgia alive. Take care, everyone. See you next.
Yes.
More episodes up on your way. See you next time. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show interview. Be sure to follow Jake and the crew on social media and stream the show wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And as always, remember to keep nostalgia alive. Bye-bye.